All right. Hello, everyone. I hope you guys are doing good. So today, the session today is going to be mainly focused on binary search. And let me share my screen. Right. So I hope my screen is visible. So the topic for today is binary search. And more specifically, we are not going to learn about basic binary search. We are going to learn about an advanced form of binary search, which is called binary search for answer. Right. And as a prerequisite of this session, I would expect you to know what binary search is. Like the basic surface level knowledge of binary search is required to understand the topics of this session. And I guess we can start now, right? So in the beginning, I'm going to define what binary search is. And even before that, let me share the agenda for today. So the agenda for today is going to be, firstly, I'm going to be giving a basic tutorial on binary search for answer. After that, we are going to be solving some problems. And finally, I'm going to introduce you guys to a topic of binary search on real numbers. Right. So this is the agenda for today. And yeah, so let's start. So let's start by defining what basic binary search is, right? So in basic binary search, what we do is we have a sorted array and we want to search for an element. And I'm assuming most of you guys already know what binary search is, but even then I'm going to reiterate just so that I can freshen you up. So we have a sorted array and a search range, which is from L to R, right? And what we do is we check if A of mid is equals to the requirement. And if it is the case, then we have successfully found. But if it is not the case, then obviously A of mid will either be in the left half or it will be in the right half. So accordingly, we can actually decrease the size of our range by half. So we decrease the size of our range by half. And this way, in each iteration of the binary search, we keep decreasing the size of our range by half. And thus, in at most log n operations, in at most log n iterations, our search range will totally exhaust. So that is why the time complexity of basic binary search is big O of log n. Right. Also, if you guys have any doubts in between of the session, then you guys are free to unmute yourself and ask it. I won't be looking at the chat box much often. So I will encourage you to be interactive and ask as many doubts as you have in between. So yeah, this was basic binary search, just to refreshen you guys. Now let's start with the topic for today, which is advanced binary search or binary search for answer. So right now we just saw that if we have a sorted array, then we can search for any element in big O of log n time, right? But what happens if instead of a sorted array, we have a Boolean array of trues and false, such that all the false form a contiguous range and all the trues form a contiguous range. So let's see what I'm talking about. So instead of a sorted array, here we have a Boolean array, which is one of these two kinds. So the first kind is f and t. So here f denotes false and t denotes true. And the second kind is t and f. So this is something similar to a sorted array situation, like, because we can just denote all the falses by zeros and all the trues by ones. And this will just become 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1 and 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, which is obviously sorted, right? So in this array, we can answer queries like, what is the index of the last false, or what is the index of the first true in O of log n time. Similarly, in the second array, we can answer queries like, what is the index of the last true, or what is the index of the first false in logarithmic time. So we can find the index of the last false or the first true in big O of log n time. Similarly, here we can find the index of the last true or the first false. And all of that we can do in big O of log n time. And that exactly is going to be the main crux of this algorithm, which is binary search for answer, right? So if you have a basic knowledge of what binary search is, probably you can understand what I'm doing here. I can just do a basic binary search to find out what is the index of the last true or the first true or the last false here. Right, so that is the main algorithm here. So does anybody have any doubts up till now in understanding, or is everything clear? Right, so I guess everything is clear here. Right, so this is basic binary search for answer, but I haven't really talked about this in real life situations. So let's see what I'm trying to say here. So sometimes we will get a situation like this, that whenever I get a value of true, then all of its values which are following will also be true. And whenever I get a value of false, then or maybe whenever I get a value of false, all of the following values are also false. So these are the cases in which I'm talking about. So in those cases, I can easily binary search to find the last true or the first false. And that in a sense is the algorithm for binary search for answer. And it will all be more clear once we start solving some problems. So without any further ado, let's start solving some problems. And our first problem is going to be an introductory problem, which will help us in actually understanding what exactly is going on here. So yeah, let's look at the first problem for the day. So our first problem for the day is going to be this. And let me share the link of this problem in the chat box. Right, so I have shared the link to the problem in the chat box. And this is an introductory problem to binary search for answer. And let's just see what this problem has to say. So we have n rectangles and all of them have the same size. That is, all of them are W in width and all of them are H in length. And it is required to find a square of the smallest size into which all these rectangles can be packed. So the problem goes like this. We have a big square whose dimensions are unknown to us, whose dimensions we need to find. And we need to find a particular square such that all the n rectangles, all of whom have a length of W and a height of H, can be put inside the rectangle, put inside the square. And we want to find the minimum side length of a particular square which can satisfy our conditions. So is this problem clear to everyone, or does anyone have any doubts in understanding what the problem is saying? So if you are clear, you can just unmute yourself and say that you are clear. It will just help me in.
Everything is clear.
Great, great.
Yeah, it's
okay.
clear.
Okay, great, great. So does anybody have any ideas on how to approach this problem? You can share your ideas. It's most probably the worst that could happen is you can be wrong, and that's not a big deal. So you are free to share your ideas here. All right, so let's start with the solution and let's see how we can approach this problem using binary search. Okay, so our first problem is packing rectangles. And the situation that we have here is of a big square. So we have a big square of unknown dimensions. So let's say that the dimensions of the square are k. So the length of the square is k. And also the width of the square is k. So let's say we have a situation like this. And Also, we have some small rectangles of h cross w dimensions, and we need to find the smallest value of k such that the square is big enough so that it fits all the small rectangles. That is the problem here. Okay, and of course, since this is a class for binary search, we are going to use some kind of binary search to solve this problem. And let's see what's going on here. And this is a case of the first kind where we will have a situation of FFF and TTT. And let's see how I'm relating this whole stuff to binary search. So we have to find the minimal value of k such that a square of dimensions k into k can fit all the rectangles. But the observation here is, if a square of side k is enough, then a square of side k plus 1 will also be enough. And I mean, that is just obvious, right? Because if we can fit all the rectangles in a square of side k, then it is natural that we can fit all the rectangles in a square of side k plus 1 as well, right? So let's say that I is the first value, and let's say that our answer is I. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we have I, which is our answer, and then we have I plus 1. Then we have I plus 1, I plus 2, I plus 3, and so on up till infinity. So these are the numbers on a number line. And let's just say that I is our correct answer. And I is the minimum required dimension, minimum required side length of a square, such that a square of side I is enough to fit all the rectangles. Then we know that a square of side length 1 is not the correct answer. So we can say that 1 is false. Similarly, we can say that 2 is also false. And everything here will just be a false. But once we reach I, we know that I is a correct answer. So we can replace I with true. Similarly, we know that if I is correct, then I plus 1 is also enough. So I plus 1 will also be true. Similarly, I plus 2 will be true. And we will just have true values here, right? So this is how I'm converting a situation from a number line to a Boolean array of falses and trues. And here we just have to find the first true value. And that can be done using binary search, right? So this is how I'm converting the situation of the problem to a Boolean array of trues and falses. And both falses and trues form a contiguous situation. And this is similar to the case number 1 here. So we can find the index of the first true in logarithmic time using binary search. So does anybody have any doubts in understanding what's going on here? All right. So now the problem is not yet solved. We still need a function to check whether a particular value of I is sufficient or not. And that is the only problem left at hand to us. We need to find a way to check whether a particular triangle, whether a particular square is enough or not. And so, yeah, that is what is left with us. So can I get some ideas on how to check whether a particular square is enough or not? Any thoughts?
I guess we can check by comparing the areas, total area of rectangle with area of square.
Okay, so that is a good try. But the problem there is that the area is not really a good metric here, because it is also possible that we fill with some squares, but some area is still left behind, right? So what I'm trying to say here is that, let's say we have a rectangle of dimension h cross w, and we try filling these rectangles here, and we do this, and then this space is not enough to fit any rectangle. And so this entire space will get wasted, right? So area, that means area is not a very good factor, and area is not something which we can use here. But that was a good attempt. The natural thing to think about here is the area, but it turns out that we can't do it because some of the area might be left behind, some of the area might be left empty. So we have to think of something else, right? And basically, the diagram which I am drawing here is essentially giving me the right answer here, because I know that the dimensions of all the squares are h cross w. And according to the problem, you can see that I can only place the squares such that their length is parallel to the length of the square. So I'll be placing my rectangles like this only, the way I have placed here, right? So if the length of my square is k and the length of my rectangle is like L, so all of these small rectangles are of length L. So can anyone tell me in this first row, how many rectangles have I completely filled in my square? It's pretty
by
easy.
L.
Yeah. So in this first row, I have filled the floor of k by L rectangles here. Okay. Similarly, in the first column, let's say I'm filling rectangles. So I do something like this, and this much area is left behind. So again, this side is k, but this value, let's say, is b. So now can anyone tell me in this first column, how many rectangles have been completely filled? Of course, it's going to be k by b, right? So in the first row, I'm filling k by L rectangles. And in the first column, I'm filling k by b rectangles. So all I can say is that the number of rows and the number of columns can just be multiplied. So my observation here is that the number of rectangles which can be filled inside a square of side length k is something like k by h times k by w. Because in each row, there are going to be k by h rectangles, and the total number of rows are going to be k by w. And so the total number of rectangles that can be filled is nothing but floor of k by h multiplied by floor of k by w. And so now can anyone tell me, if I have this number with me, how can I actually check whether a particular square is enough or not? So I have n rectangles and I have to fill all of them. So any ideas how to do it? I mean, you guys can ask, you guys can talk freely. Yeah. So your voice is not clear.
If the value is
Yes,
greater than or equals to n, then the condition will be true for this.
Yeah. So that is correct. So the condition here for a particular value of k to be enough is that k by h multiplied by k by w should be greater than or equal to n. So now essentially I have a checker function which can check for any value of I whether it is enough or not. And now essentially I have all the tools required so that I can do a binary search here. Right. And in a sense, I have solved this problem. Right. So does anybody have any doubts, any kinds of doubts in understanding this before I go on and start to implement this? Okay, so if there are no doubts, I'm just going to go ahead and start with the implementation of this problem. All right, so can someone confirm if my Sublime is visible?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay, great. So according to the problem, in the input, we have three values, that is W, H, and N. So we'll input just three values, W, H, and N. And let's just make all of these values global so that we can make a checker function without having to pass all the values. Okay, so I have my W, my H, my N. Now I'm going to define a search range. Now the way I implement binary search is I try to maintain invariants. So first of all, I will declare three variables, L, R, and mid. And now I will try to maintain some invariants. And my invariant will be that L is always false and R is always true. So this is going to be my invariant condition. And invariant is nothing but a condition which will remain true throughout the execution of the code. Right, so this is my invariant. So can anyone tell me what is a valid value of L, which I can safely use so that the answer will always be false? Any guesses here?
0.
Yeah, that is correct, because if the square has a side length of 0, then obviously it cannot fit any rectangle. So the answer for that is going to be false. And similarly, I can use just infinity or 10 to the power 9 or any big number like that. Let's use 10 to the power 12 for r, because a square which is of side length infinity, which is close to 10 to the power 12, will be like, it can just fit any number of rectangles. And I'm sure of that. So in the beginning, I have maintained my invariant that L is always false and R is always true. Now, instead of what most people do something like this: while R is greater than or equals to L, do something. But what I try to do is that I try to write it like this: while R is greater than L plus 1, and then I just maintain my invariance. And this way, I don't actually have to apply any kind of logic. I don't have to use brains. I simply have to maintain my invariance. I have to follow my invariance blindly. And I will be sure that after my binary search has ended, both the invariants have been maintained successfully. And I can just finally use whether L or R is going to be my answer here. Okay, so let's see what's going on here. So as in any standard binary search, we do R plus L by 2 is equals to mid. And we make a checker function. Let's say we have made a function check and we call it for mid. So if check of mid, then I'm going to do something. Otherwise, I'm going to do something simply. And this means that if check of mid is equals to true, and according to my invariant, I'm always maintaining R to be true. So I will just do R is equals to mid here. And according to my invariant, I'm always maintaining L as false. So if check of mid is false, then I can just say that L is equals to mid. And in this way, I have reduced my search range by half. So I'll write the checker function later. But for now, can anyone tell me what exactly is going to be my final answer here? Any guesses? After the binary search is over, what will be?
Both L and R should be answered.
Well, both L and R can't be the answer. Actually, because I'm maintaining the invariant that L is always false and R is always true. So after my binary search has ended, L is not equals to R. The condition here is that R should be greater than L plus 1. So after the binary search has ended, the condition will be that R is equal to L plus 1. And since the invariant says that R is always true and L is always false, my final answer is going to be R. Right. So now the only thing left for us to do is to write a checker function. So let's write a Boolean checker function, which takes in a parameter k. So as defined previously, the way we have to check it is very simple. We can just say that k by h multiplied by k by w should be greater than or equals to n. And if that is the case, we will just return true. Otherwise, we'll return false. And this completes our checker function. So yeah, this completes the code for this problem. So does anybody have any kinds of doubts in understanding what is exactly going on in this problem? Or with what I have done, the way I have implemented binary search? This binary search is a little bit different from what you conventionally see. And I always personally use this kind of binary search, and I will always recommend using this, because when you do this binary search, you don't have to apply your brains at all. You have to blindly maintain invariants. And finally, you can be confident that your answer will be either L or R. Right. So are there any doubts here? If there are no doubts, then I think I can move on to the next topic or the next problem. So this was an introductory problem to binary search for answer. And I hope you guys were able to understand what binary search for answer is using this very simple problem. So I actually binary searched for the answer here. And that is why this algorithm is called so. Okay, great. So now let's move on to another problem. And the problem which we will be tackling now is another very standard problem for binary search for answer. And this is one of those problems that most of people do when they learn this topic for the first time. So we are going to do the same. This problem is called aggressive cows, and it is from Spoj. And again, I'm going to send the link to the problem in the chat box. So the link is in the chat box. So let's see what this problem has to say. So in this problem, farmer John has built a new long barn with n stalls. The stalls are located along straight lines at positions x1, x2 up till xn. So we have n stalls and we have the position of each one of them. All right. So now we have C number of cows and we are sure that C is less than or equals to n. And the cows don't like this barn layout and they become aggressive towards each other once put into a stall. So to prevent these cows from hurting each other, the farmer wants to assign the cows to the stalls such that the minimum distance between any two of them is as large as possible. And we need to find what exactly is this largest minimum distance, right? So essentially what the problem is saying is we have a barn and we have a farm where we have n stalls and they have been located at positions x1, x2 up till xn. And then we have C cows and we are sure that C is less than or equals to n. And we want to place these cows as far ahead as possible. So we want to find the maximum value of the minimum distance between any two cows. So yeah, this is what the problem is trying to say. And right, so does anybody have any doubts in understanding what exactly the problem is saying so that I can re-explain it? Okay, it doesn't look like there are any doubts here. All right, great. So yeah, this is what the problem is saying. We have to maximize the minimum distance between any two adjacent cows. That is the problem. And we need to do this. And of course, we are going to use binary search here. And since we are using binary search for answer, the answer here is the minimum distance between two cows. And that is the thing for which we are going to use binary search. So let's jump right into the solution here. All right. So the second problem for today is going to be aggressive cows. And the problem basically says we have n locations and we have to place C cows with at most one cow in each location. What is the maximum possible minimum distance between any two cows that we can have, right? So this is what the problem is saying. So does anybody have any clues about how to approach this problem? Any ideas here will be appreciated. Well, we are going to use binary. Yeah. Go ahead.
Like we can assume the maximum distance to be k, and then the total stall, total stalls needed will be C plus C minus 1 into k, and it must be less than the total, something like that.
Okay, that was yeah. You are really close to what we are going to do here. So that was a really good attempt to what we are going to do here. So exactly what is happening here is that we have to place all the C cows, and we can't place C minus 1 cows and get done with it, right? We have to assign every cow to exactly one location. So that is the key here. Now, what we can do is, what we are going to do here is, let's jump to the solution. We are going to binary search for the maximum possible minimum distance. Again, the observation here is that if a distance D is enough, then a distance D minus 1 will also be enough, right? And by enough, I mean that a particular value of distance is enough to accommodate all the cows, such that all the C cows will be assigned to a particular location. So if we have a distance D such that using a minimum distance of D, we can actually assign all the cows, then obviously we can do it using D minus 1 also, right? Because D is just greater than D minus 1. So the arrangement which I am using for D is also valid for d minus 1. So that is what I'm trying to say here. So this means the situation here is something like this. So obviously a distance of 0 is always good, because if the minimum distance between two cows is 0, then obviously we can assign them because any distance is greater than 0. So that is true. So we will have a situation of truth, and finally there will come a situation where the answer will be false, because that particular minimum distance will not be enough, and then everything will be just false, because I know for any true value the I minus 1th value will also be true, and similarly for any false value a value greater than that will also be false, right? Okay, so this is a situation like this, and what we need to do here is we need to find the last t. So the last t will give us the maximum possible value of the minimum distance. And again, since this is a contiguous array of trues and false, we can use binary search to find the first t, right? So that is what I'm doing here. Again, the only problem left for us is to actually determine whether a particular value of distance is enough to accommodate all the C cows or not. So that is the only problem left at hand with us. So if there are any doubts up till now in understanding, you can ask, or if you have the approach to actually tell whether a particular value of distance is enough or not, you can go ahead and share that as well. So the only problem left, find whether a particular D is enough to accommodate all cows or not. And so if there are no ideas, then I can go ahead and tell the solution. But if anyone would like to try, they are most welcome. All right, so let's just jump into the solution here. So here we can obviously use a greedy method. So we can just greedily assign cows. So greedily assign a location to the current cow if distance from the previous cow becomes greater than or equals to D, right? This is obviously a greedy assignment. And finally, if we are able to assign more than or equals to C cows, then it's good, right? So if we are able to assign greater than or equals to C cows, then obviously the value of D is enough. And if the number of cows that finally we assigned are less than C, then that particular D is not enough. And yeah, that is how we can do it. So obviously this function will be a linear function. We'll iterate for the entire array and try to assign with the value of D and check whether D is enough or not. And since the number of iterations that binary search will take is O of log n, the total time complexity of this algorithm becomes O of n log n, which is good enough here since the value of n is not very large. Right, so in a sense, we have solved this problem. And this checker function is just greedy. I will greedily assign a location to the current cow if its distance from the previous cow becomes greater than or equal to D, because I just want to satisfy one condition, which is that the distance between any two cows should be greater than or equal to D. And if I'm able to do that, then I'll just assign it to all the other cows, and I'll just assign it to my current cow. And then I will try to assign the nearest location which exceeds D for the next cow. And I will just keep doing that. And finally, if the number of cows that I have assigned are greater than or equals to C, which is the number of current cows, then I'm good. Then the answer for that particular distance will be true. Otherwise, it will be false. And in this way, I can find the index of the last true using just binary search. All right, great. So yeah, let's move on to the implementation. So if anybody has any doubts, they can ask. Otherwise, let's just move on to the implementation of this problem. All right. Okay, so let's just look at the input format once. Okay. So we have the number of locations and the number of cows. Let's just make them global, and that will be our input. And then we'll get all the locations. So let's just take that as an input. Okay, now I have all the locations. Let's make the vector global as well so that we don't need to pass it again and again. All right. So now with that done, let's go ahead and try to solve this problem. So again, I need to initialize the values of L and R. And obviously, if L is equals to 0, then I know that a distance of 0 is always good. So I can just initialize L to be 0. And similarly, I can initialize my R to be around 10 to the power 12. It doesn't really matter much. So then again, I will try to maintain some invariants. So this time the invariants are going to be simple. L is always true. And R is always false. Right? So this is the invariant here, and I'm going to perform the binary search in a similar fashion. So while R is greater than L plus 1, I'll do mid is equals to L plus R by 2. And now I'll call the checker function. So if check of mid is true, then since I'm maintaining the invariant for L to be true, I'll do L is equals to mid. Otherwise, if check of mid is false, I will do R is equals to mid. Right? And yeah, this is done. So now can someone tell me in this problem, what is going to be my final answer? I need to find the index of the last true.
L.
Great. So the
L
final
should be the answer.
Yeah, so the final answer here is going to be L, because I want to find the index of the last true value, and I am maintaining the invariant that L is always true and R is always false. So finally, when the binary search will end, R will be equals to L plus 1 and L will be true and R will be false. So virtually L will be the index of the last false. Okay, great. So now the only thing left for us to do is to write the greedy checker function. Let's say we have this value K. So now what I'm going to do here is similar to what I described. I'm going to assign the cow to the current location if its distance from the previous cow is greater than or equals to K. Otherwise, I'm going to increase my distance and just move ahead, right? So I'll have to keep track of the location of the assignment of my previous cow, right? And I can just initialize this variable to -infinity, because for the first cow, there is no previous cow. So it makes sense to always place the first cow in the first location. So I'm going to initialize my previous variable to -infinity. And I will also keep a count variable to which will count the number of cows which I have assigned up till now. Right. And then I'm going to loop over the entire locations array. And I'll say that if my current location, if the distance from the current location to the assignment of the previous cow is greater than or equals to K, then I'm going to assign that location to my cow. Otherwise, I'm going to just move forward. So there doesn't really need to be an else condition here, right? So if this distance between the assignment of the previous cow and the current location becomes greater than or equals to K, I can just assign that particular cow to my current location. So that can be done by incrementing the count variable and then doing prev is equals to A of I, because now the new location for the next cow of the previous cow is going to be A of I, because I'm assigning the previous cow to A of I. Right. So essentially using this greedy algorithm, I'm finding the maximum number of cows that can be allotted. So this greedy method finds the maximum number of cows that can be allocated a location. So now can anyone tell me what is the condition in which I will be returning true and what is the condition in which I will be returning false?
Return count is greater than or equal to C.
Great. So that is the thing which we are going to do. Obviously, if the number of cows that can be allocated a spot that is greater than or equals to C, then my particular value of K is good. So I'll return count is greater than or equals to C. Right? So this completes the solution to this problem. So I'm using a greedy strategy to assign cows to their respective locations. And finally, I have the count of the maximum number of cows that can be assigned the location. So that has to be at least C. So if that is greater than or equals to C, I return true. Otherwise, I just return false. And this is how I'm doing my binary search. And finally, I will
Can you try run one test case?
Okay, great. So I'll do that. Let's just see if they have a sample test case. Okay, so they have one. So we have a test case like this. So we have like 5 locations and 3 cows. So we have n is equals to 5 and C is equals to 3. And the A array is something like this. 1, 2. So, okay, so I also have to sort the array. Right, so I have an array like this, 1, 2, 4, 8, 9. And let's see what I'm trying to say here. So initially my L will be 0 and my R will be infinity. And f of L will obviously be true, but f of R will be false. So what I'm going to verify here is that if I take my D to be 2, then my answer will come as false. And so if I take my D to be 2, then my answer will come as true. And if I take my D to be 4, then my answer will come as false. And if I take my D to be 3, then my answer will come as 3. Then my answer will come as true. And that will just prove that 3 is the last true. So what we need to prove here is that check of 3 is equals to true and check of 4 is equals to false. So if I prove this, then I have essentially proved that my binary search is finding the correct answer and my checker function is also correct. So let's dry run the checker function for K is equals to 3. So my array is like this. So let's see. So I will assign the first cow to the first location because that is something which I'm always doing. And so the first cow is now assigned to the first location. My count is 1 and my prev is also equals to 1. Now I'm at index number 2. So now I am here. So now I notice that AI minus prev is equals to 1, which is not greater than or equals to my K, which is 3. So I move ahead. Now I'm at index number 3, where I notice that AI minus prev is equals to 3, which is greater than or equals to 3. So I assign my second cow here. Great. So now my prev becomes 4. Now I'm at index number 4. And I notice that AI minus prev is equals to 4. That is 8 minus 4. So I can easily assign my third cow here. So now my count becomes 3 and my prev becomes 8. Now I am at 9. I notice that AI minus prev is equals to 1. So I cannot assign another cow here. So I have assigned exactly 3 cows and I'm returning count is greater than or equals to 3. So I will return true, right? So this checker function returns true for K is equals to 3. And similarly, if we try to do it for 4, we'll assign the first cow here at I is equals to 1. Then we'll assign the second cow at I is equals to 4 because we cannot assign it in between. And then we can't place the third cow anywhere. So it is returning false for K is equals to 4. So that just proves that K is equals to 3 is the correct answer and my checker function is also correct. So are you satisfied now with this dry run? Okay, great. Right, so this completes this problem. So this is a very standard problem in the topic of binary search. And now let's move to a more involved problem. And this is going to be a difficult problem. And I can surely say that you will never find a binary search problem which is more difficult than the problem that we are going to do now. And it is also a very, very commonly asked problem in interviews. So if you're here with that perspective, again, this is going to be beneficial for you. All right. So what I have here is this problem is called allocate books. I'll just send the link. So I have shared the link to the problem in the chat box. And let's see what this problem has to say. Again, this is the most difficult problem that I have ever solved of binary search. So if you are able to actually understand this problem, then you can safely say that you will be able to solve any other problem requiring the concept of binary searching for answer. And also there is very high probability that this problem is going to be asked in an interview. So it is also good with that perspective. So yeah, let's jump into it. So in this problem, we have an integer array A of size n and an integer B. And a college library has n bags and the ith book has ai number of pages. Okay, and we have to allocate books to b number of students so that the maximum number of pages allocated to a student is minimum, right? That is what we have to do. And a book will be allocated to exactly one student, and each student has to be allocated at least one book. This is somewhat similar to the previous problem, aggressive cows, right? And the allotment should be in a contiguous order. That is the key to this problem. So if a student is allocated the book number 1, then it cannot be allocated book number 3 because that won't be contiguous. So a student cannot be allocated book 1 and 3, skipping book 2. And we have to return the minimum possible value of the maximum number of pages that can be allotted to a student. That is the problem here. So in the previous problem, we had to return the maximum value of the minimum distance, but here we have to return the minimum value of the maximum number of pages that a student will be allotted. And the ith book has ai number of pages and there are total b number of students. Right, so that is what the problem has to say. So does anybody have any ideas as to how we can start and try to approach this problem? Right. So if there are no ideas, let me go ahead and share my initial thoughts to this problem. So the problem goes like this. Allocate books to students in a contiguous fashion such that each student gets at least one book. And the maximum number of pages allocated to one student is minimized. I'm sorry, your voice is not clear. Okay, so this is what we want. We want to minimize the maximum number of pages allocated to a particular student. And yeah, that is what we want to do. So again, we are trying to use binary search for answer. And the answer here is the max value, is the min value of max pages allocated to any student. And since we binary search, we always binary search on the answer. We are going to binary search on the maximum number of pages allocated to any student. And we are going to say whether a particular value of maximum pages is good or not, right? So yeah, that is what we are going to do. And this will be something like this. So if we can assign the books in such a way that a particular value is enough to assign each book to every child. So if I pages, that is the maximum pages assigned to any student, is good enough to assign books to all students, then obviously I+1 pages are also good, right? So what I'm trying to say here is that if the maximum number of pages assigned to a particular student is I, then the maximum, if the maximum number of pages assigned to a particular student is I plus 1, then also it's good, right? So that is the thing here. So the situation which we have here is of this type: false, 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 and true, true, true. And I need to find this minimum value. So I need to find the first index of a true. And a true here denotes that if f of I is true, then it denotes that if all the students have the number of pages less than or equals to I, then also I can assign each student a particular book. So let's say this is a function f, and it is looking like this. So what f of I denotes here is that f of I is true means I can assign a book. I can assign at least one book to each child such that the maximum number of pages assigned to any student is less than or equals to I. So now it is obvious to understand that if I have a valid assignment for I, then I also have a valid assignment for I plus 1, right? Because anything which is less than or equals to I is also less than or equals to I plus 1. So that just goes on to prove that if f of I is true, then f of I plus 1 is also going to be true without any doubt. And so what we have to answer here is we have to answer for the minimum value of the maximum. So we have to find the minimum value of the maximum, which means that we have to find the index of the first true here, right? And that can be done using binary search. So the only problem which is left here is to actually find out whether whether a particular I is good or not. So the only problem that we have here is check whether f of I is true or false for any particular I. So I have decided that the number of pages that any student is getting has to be less than or equals to I. And I need to check whether in such an arrangement, I can allot at least one book to every student or not. And if I can, then I'm good. Or if I cannot, then I am not good. So in a sense, I have to find the minimum number of students that will get a book. And if that minimum value is less than or equals to the number of students that I have, then I'm good. Otherwise, I'm not good. So can anyone tell me about any approach using which I can actually find the minimum number of students that I can give a book to, so that each student, the number of pages that each student is getting is less than or equals to I? So is there any approach, is there any algorithm using which we can do that? Well, we are going to use a very similar approach to what we did in the previous problem. So we are going to use a greedy approach here. So what we are going to do is greedily assign all the books to the same person until and unless the number of books that he has exceeds I. So I will keep assigning my current book to the current person, and I will just keep doing it. And when I realize that the number of books that this particular person is holding, the number of pages that, sorry, this should be pages here. So the number of pages that this particular person is holding is exceeding I, then I will stop allocating the current book to the current person, and I will then move on to the next person, right? And that way I can check the minimum number of books the minimum number of students to which I can assign a book. And if I can assign a book to X number of students, then obviously I can assign the book to X plus 1 or X plus 2 number of students as well. Right. So finally, I will return true if this, let's say this value is count. So let's say count is the minimum number of students to which we can assign books. So finally, we can just return true if this count is less than or equals to the number of students that we have, which is B here. and we will return false if this count is greater than b. Right. So this is the greedy algorithm which I'm following here. And so are there any doubts in understanding what's going on here? Because this is tricky to understand, I admit that. And I will repeat again that this is one of the really hard problems of binary search. So if you have any kind of doubts in understanding how this greedy approach is working, you are free to ask. And if there are no doubts, I will just go ahead and try to implement this. All right, so if there are no doubts, let's start looking at the code. I think I already have the code to this problem written. Okay, so I have the code to this problem with me. So I have an integer array A, where A of I denotes the number of pages in the ith book, and I have B, which is the number of students to which I have to distribute the books. So first of all, if the number of students is greater than the number of books, then obviously I cannot distribute the books in such a way that each student gets at least one book. So I will just return -1. Otherwise, I'm going to do my binary search. And the way I'm going to maintain my invariance here is that L is always true, and L is always false, and R is always true. And finally, I need to return the first true. So I will just return R, right? So I can initialize L with 0. But here what I have done is I have initialized L with the maximum element of the array. And both of them are just the same thing, because for the maximum element of the array, obviously I cannot distribute a book to every child, because that will always give me a false. So I can initialize L with the maximum element of the array. And finally, I can also initialize R with the sum of all the elements of the array, because the sum of all if the number of books, if the minimum value is the sum of all the elements, then I can just keep distributing all the books to the first child. And in that way, the number of children which we will have in this greedy function will be just 1. And that will always be less than or equals to B. So we will always return true. So we know that for the sum of all children, the answer is always going to be true. So we can initialize R with that. Also, there was no problem in actually initializing L with 0 and R with infinity. So that is one point. But just so that the code is actually very, very optimized, you can initialize L with the maximum element of the array and R with the sum of all the elements of the array. Okay. Now with that done, first of all, let's look at this binary search now. So I'm doing this similar binary search while R is greater than L plus 1, maintaining the invariant that R is always true and L is always false. And this num students of a comma mid function, what it is doing is it is greedily trying to assign every book to the current student until and unless the number of pages held by the current student is not exceeding mid. And finally, it is outputting the minimum number of students. So if that minimum number of students is less than or equals to B, then I'm good. So I can just say R is equals to mid, because according to my invariant, R is always mid. Otherwise, I can just say that L is equals to mid and get done with it. Right. So this completes my binary search. So now let's have a short look at what this greedy function is actually doing. So according to this greedy function, I have an answer variable which actually stores the minimum number of students. And I can initialize this variable with 1, because I know that I'm going to allocate the first book to the first student. So there is at least one student to which I will allocate all my books. And this sum variable actually denotes the sum of pages that the current person to whom I'm assigning the books is storing. So what I'll do is I'll increment sum by AI, and I will just check whether this sum is greater than target or not. Here my target is just mid. So if it is greater than target, then obviously I cannot assign my current book to the current person. So I have to increment the number of people to which I'm assigning the books. So I will do answer plus plus, and then I will also do sum is equals to A of I, because the current person is holding A of I amount of books. And then I will just keep doing it, and I'll finally return answer, which is the minimum number of students which are required so that a particular value of mid is good. And then if that minimum number of students is less than or equals to B, I will return true, and I will do R is equals to mid. Otherwise, I will do L is equals to mid. And again, this checker function is linear in time, and we know that binary search works in log n time. So the total time complexity of this problem then becomes O of n log n. And in this way, we have essentially solved the problem. So now, does anybody have any doubts in understanding how I'm actually solving this? Because this is a really tricky problem. So if you didn't understand anything, you are free to go ahead and ask the doubt. All right, so it looks like everybody is clear enough. So that is great. And you should be happy if you have actually understood the solution to this problem, because like this is one of the, so again, I'm reiterating, this is one of the most difficult problems of binary search you will ever encounter. So now if you have actually understood the solution and you solve 2 to 3 similar problems like this, then I'm sure that in the future, if you see any problem related to binary search, you will be able to solve it. Right? Okay, great. So this completes the topic of binary searching for integers. So now there is just this little topic which is towards the end of my agenda today, which is called binary searching for answer. So this last topic for the day is going to be binary search for real numbers. Sorry. So now the last topic for today is going to be binary search for real numbers. Now, this is not something very different from the normal binary search, but it is worth mentioning because sometimes there is a binary search for real numbers kind of situation, and a lot of people actually mess up because they try to use the normal binary search and they encounter precision issues and many other issues because, you know, dealing with floating point numbers is always a task which requires taking care of precision, right? So there is just a little difference between binary search for real numbers and that for integers. And that difference is, so for integral binary search, we generally use a while loop like this. So we do something like this: while r is greater than L, or while r is greater than L plus 1, or something like that, right? But for doubles or for floating point integers, that for floating point numbers, that will surely lead to precision errors. So it turns out we can't actually do that for real numbers. So for real numbers, we have two tricks. So the first trick is we declare a variable called epsilon. So we declare a variable called epsilon, which is given a very, very small value, something like 0.00005. And this, the value of epsilon depends on the amount of precision that you want. And once you have declared a value of epsilon, you can declare a while loop like this, while r minus L is greater than or equals to epsilon. And just try to maintain your invariants. So finally, after the binary search has ended, you can be sure that the r minus L value is less than epsilon. And so R and L are very, very close, and you have actually found your correct answer. So that way you can actually do it for real numbers. But this method is not very widely used. The widely used method is just pick a random number around 50 to 60 and do those many iterations of binary search. Right. And this will just work. And that is true because in each iteration of the binary search, your search range is getting halved, right? So if at the end of your answer, you have a search range of 1, if at the end of the binary search, you have a search range of 1, then that means you had a search range of size 2 to the power 60 to begin with. And in 60 iterations, a search range of size 2 to the power 60 is getting reduced to a search range of size 1. So in 60 iterations, if a range of size 2 to the power 60 can be reduced to a size 1, then obviously 2 to the power 60 is a very huge number. Our range is probably of the form 10 to the power 9 or 10 to the power 12. So in around 60 iterations of binary search, we will surely be getting a range which is very, very small. And hence in 60 or 70 or 50 iterations of the binary search, we will always converge to our correct answer. So this is a better way of doing binary search for real numbers. Just pick a random number, which is mostly between 50 to 60, and try to do your binary search using that. And the rest of the things are just the same. And just for the sake of completeness, towards the end of the day, now we'll actually be solving a problem based on binary search for real numbers. So are there any doubts in understanding this, or should I go ahead and solve the problem? All right, so now let's solve this problem for binary search for real numbers. Okay, so this problem is called ropes. It is from Codeforces. And again, I'll just share the link in the chat box. So let's see what this problem has to say now. So in this problem, we have n ropes and we need to cut them into k pieces of the same length from them, right? So we have n ropes and we need to cut k pieces of the same length from them. And we need to find the maximum length of the pieces that you can get. That is the entire problem here. So let's just see how we can do this. So we have a situation like this. We have a rope. We have n ropes basically. And the length of all these ropes is unknown to us, that we have to find. And we have n ropes of this kind. And we need to cut k pieces out of them. And all the pieces have to be of the same length. And finally, we need to tell what is the minimum length of the rope, which will allow us to do that. So what is the maximum length of the pieces that we can get, right? So that is what we want here. And we need to cut k pieces, right? And we need to find what is the maximum length of the pieces that we can have, such that that is the case here. And all the ropes are not of the same length. The length of the ith rope is equals to a of I. So the length of this rope is equals to a1. So the length of this rope is equals to a2, and so on. So this is equals to an. And what we need to tell is we need to tell what is the maximum length of the pieces. The length of each piece has to be same. And we need to tell what is the maximum length of the pieces that we can get, so that the number of pieces that we can cut is k. So again, we are going to use binary search here, right? And this is obviously similar to the problems that we have been solving till now. So this is a situation of true, 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 and false, 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 false. So obviously, if we take a length 0, then the number of pieces that we can cut is virtually infinite. So if we can cut infinite pieces, then we can cut k pieces. Similarly, if we can successfully cut I pieces, then we know that we can cut I minus 1 pieces as well. So that is why this is a situation of true, 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 and false, false, false. And finally, we need to find the index of the last true. And now the checker function again here is really easy. So if we have a length I and we need to check whether we can cut k pieces of size I or not, that is again easy to find, because from the first rope, if we try to cut pieces of length I, the number of pieces that I'm going to get is going to be a1 by I. And similarly, here the number of pieces that I can get is going to be a2 by I. And similarly, here the number of pieces will be an by I. And finally, I want my pieces to be k. So if the sum, so I will just return true if the sum is greater than or equals to k, right? So the total number of pieces that can be cut is summation of a1 by I plus a2 by I up till an by I. And if that is equals to or greater than k, then I can cut k pieces from it. So that piece of length is good for me. So I will just return true. Otherwise, I'm going to return false. And that is how I'm going to solve this problem. So yeah, this is going to be it. And this is how we solve this problem. So let me just try to implement it so that we know how to write code for binary search for real numbers. All right. Okay, so let's just see the input format. N and K. Okay, so we have two integers N and K. And a vector of length N. So I take the input, and again, now I'm going to do binary search. So for binary search, we need variables L, R, and mid. And this time, instead of having a while loop, I will just pick a random number, which is going to be 60. So I just randomly pick 60 iterations. And in each iteration, I will do, so obviously this has to be double now, since I am on binary numbers, on real numbers. So now again, mid will be just L plus R by 2. And we will create a checker function. So again, here I'm maintaining the invariant that L is always true and R is always false. So if check of mid is true, then I will do L is equals to mid. Otherwise, I will do R is equals to mid. And finally, I'm going to return just R, just L, because I have to find the index of the last true value. Great. Now, the only thing which is left for us to do is to write this checker function, which takes in mid as the argument. All right, so I will keep track of the number of pieces in my count. And then I'll just iterate over my array and increment count by A of I upon mid, because that is the number of pieces that I can cut. And finally, I'll just return count is greater than or equals to K. So if that is the case, then I will return true. Otherwise, I'm going to return false. So this is the checker function, and this completes the code to this problem. And so we have basically covered everything that I had planned for today. And so if you guys have any doubts in this entire session, or you have some general doubts about competitive programming, now is the time for them. So yeah, you guys can ask anything which you would like to ask relating to this problem or related to anything else as well.
What L and R here going to be?
Oh, sorry. So I haven't initialized that. Again, L is going to be 0 and R can be initialized to be something very large, about 10 to the power 12. Right. All right. So any other doubts here? So if there are no more doubts, I think we can end this session. It was a really great session. And thank you so much, everyone who attended the session and stick towards the end. And if there are no more doubts, I think we can end now, and I will see you guys in the next session. All right.